Hey everyone, and welcome back. It's time for another deep dive. And today, we're looking at a story that's got all the makings of a political thriller, but this one's playing out in real life.
Oh, yeah.
We're talking about international students in Limburg,
Hmm?
a province in the Netherlands,
Okay.
and the anxiety swirling around potential restrictions on international student visas.
Hmm.
It's a bit like Brexit-level drama, but instead of leaving the EU, Limburg's fighting tooth and nail to keep those international ties strong.
What's really fascinating about this is that Limburg is in this unique position. Lots of countries are grappling with concerns about too many international students, but Limburg actually relies on them. They share borders with Belgium and Germany.
Right.
And get this, a whopping 70% of their students at their educational institutions come from just across those borders.
Wow. So almost three-quarters of their student body are international students.
Yeah.
So you can imagine the shockwaves when the Dutch government announced these plans to cap international student numbers nationwide.
Yeah.
This article we've got from University World News, Province warns of dire impact of foreign student numbers cap, really paints a picture of the anxiety and uncertainty this has caused. It seems like everyone's banding together, local leaders, universities, businesses.
Oh, wow.
They've even sent an open letter to the Minister of Education to plead their case.
And their arguments are really compelling. This isn't just about, warm, fuzzy international cooperation. This is about economics,
Yeah.
hard economics. We've got this research from Pantea, an economic research institute,
Right.
and they estimate that restricting international students could slash €1 billion from Limburg's economic output.
Wait, €1 billion. I knew it was serious, but that's a
Yeah.
lot of money.
To put that in perspective, that's like the entire annual budget of a small country.
Wow. Okay, so it's about the money, but it's not just about the money, right? These restrictions could also affect jobs.
Absolutely. Pantea estimates a potential loss of 4,500 jobs. And that's significant anywhere, but especially for a region with a smaller population like Limburg. The thing is, international students in Limburg aren't just filling classroom seats.
Yeah.
They're filling critical gaps in the labor market.
Right.
Many industries in the region really depend on their skills and expertise.
So let's talk about Limburg's unique location for a moment.
Yeah.
I mean, it's practically surrounded by other countries. 76% of its border is international.
It's true.
So it's no wonder that cross-border collaboration is so ingrained in their identity. But it begs the question, why are they facing this challenge? I mean, other regions struggle with things like housing shortages because there are so many students. Is that not a concern in Limburg?
That's what's so interesting. While other areas might see international students as adding to their problems, Limburg argues the opposite. They're the solution.
Really?
They need more students. They've got plenty of space and a need for skilled workers, especially with an aging population. They see these students as a way to deal with those demographic challenges and boost their economy.
Hold on. So they're saying that these international students actually help them avoid problems that other regions are struggling with.
Yeah.
That's kind of mind-blowing.
It is. It really challenges the traditional narrative around international students. Instead of viewing them as a strain on resources,
Right.
Limburg is emphasizing their positive impact.
Right.
They're making the case that limiting international students would actually hurt them in their unique situation.
Okay, this is where it gets even more interesting. There's this national initiative in the Netherlands called Every Region Counts. It's all about improving quality of life and work across the country.
Right.
What's Limburg's take on this?
Well, the irony is that Limburg argues these restrictions could actually hurt the Every Region Counts initiative in their own region.
Mm-hmm.
They're saying that their approach of embracing international students is key to how they plan to achieve those goals. By attracting young talent and boosting innovation and strengthening ties with their neighbors, they're positioning themselves as this thriving hub for economic and social progress.
So instead of holding them back, these international students are actually helping Limburg grow and contribute to those national goals.
Exactly. And they're not shy about making that point. In fact, the president of Maastricht University, Rianne Lechert, she used the word below to describe the potential impact of these caps on their institution and the whole region.
Wow.
You can really sense the urgency in her voice. This isn't just a theoretical debate. This is a real-world issue with real consequences.
And speaking of Maastricht University, they seem to be a perfect example of this.
Yeah.
They've got students from 131 different nations,
Wow.
with international students making up 59% of their student body just last year. That's incredible diversity.
It is.
And it really emphasizes that Limburg is already deeply connected to the global community.
And it's not just about the numbers. Think about the potential for cross-cultural exchange and the sharing of ideas and perspectives, the friendships and collaborations that come from such a diverse environment. These are invaluable assets that really enrich the educational experience and contribute to a vibrant community.
So we're seeing this tension play out between national policies and what regions actually need. It seems like Limburg is saying, look, we get it, but one size fits all just won't work for us.
Exactly. And that's why it's so important to understand the specifics of each region when we're making policies.
Right.
What makes sense in one place could have unintended negative consequences in another. The case of Limburg really highlights how we need a more flexible approach to immigration and education policy.
So it's not just about Limburg. It's about recognizing the value of having different regions with their own unique strengths and needs. And it's about realizing that embracing those international connections can actually be a good thing for everyone.
And it's not just Maastricht University that benefits from this mix of students. Limburg's got a bunch of specialized institutions that cater to all sorts of industries.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like Zayed University of Applied Sciences. They're known for their programs in logistics and international business,
Okay.
which feeds directly into the region's booming logistics sector and its role as this gateway between the Netherlands and its neighbors.
So it's like they're tailoring what they teach to what the region actually needs.
Exactly. They're creating a pipeline of skilled workers ready to jump into the local market. And it's not just higher education. They've also put a lot of resources into multilingual primary and secondary schools,
Oh, well.
which creates this more inclusive environment for international families and gets kids understanding different cultures from a young age.
So they're thinking long-term, building something sustainable for both the students and the region as a whole.
Yeah.
That's impressive. Do you have any specific examples of how this international collaboration is actually working on the ground? What does this cross-border innovation look like?
Well, one really cool example is the Brightlands Smart Services Campus. It's a hub for innovation in things like data science and AI,
Okay.
and it brings together researchers, businesses, and students from all over the Netherlands, Belgium, and Germany
Yeah.
to work on these cutting-edge projects. They're working on things like smart logistics, personalized healthcare, sustainable agriculture. It's like a melting pot of ideas and expertise, and it's driving growth and creating jobs in the region.
That sounds like a perfect example of how breaking down those borders leads to breakthroughs. But let's talk about the bigger picture for a second.
Mhm.
The Universities of the Netherlands, or UNL, has also voiced concerns about these proposed restrictions.
Hmm.
What's their take?
Well, UNL represents all 14 Dutch research universities, and they've been pretty outspoken against these caps, especially for border regions like Limburg. They argue that international students are crucial for keeping Dutch higher education strong and diverse. They contribute to research, bring fresh perspectives, help make the academic environment more globally connected and competitive. And their concerns go beyond just the economic and academic stuff.
Okay.
They also talk about the social and cultural benefits of having a diverse student body, saying it promotes tolerance, understanding, and a more vibrant and inclusive society.
It sounds like they're making a strong case for the importance of international students in higher education. But what about the arguments for limiting international student numbers? There have to be reasons why the Dutch government is considering these restrictions right.
Of course, and it's important to consider those concerns. One of the main arguments is that the quick influx of international students is putting pressure on things like housing and public services.
Yeah, that makes sense.
There are also worries about maintaining the quality of education and making sure Dutch students have fair access to higher education opportunities.
Right.
And then you have the political side of things, with some groups concerned about how immigration impacts Dutch culture and identity.
So it's complex with valid points on both sides.
Yeah.
But it seems like Limburg is offering a different perspective, suggesting that, at least for them, the benefits outweigh the potential downsides.
Exactly. And they're backing it up with data research and real examples of how this is working.
Yeah.
They're not ignoring the concerns.
Yes.
They're addressing them and coming up with solutions that work for them.
It's almost like they're saying, hey, don't punish us for doing something right.
Yeah.
And they have the results to prove it. They've become a hub for innovation and growth, and they've done it by welcoming talent from all over the world.
And that brings us back to what Peter van der Heijden said about multilingual education. He argues that investing in that, especially in border regions, is a smart move for the whole Netherlands. He sees it as a way to attract and keep global talent, boost those cross-border partnerships, and build a more competitive economy.
So it's not just about Limburg, it's about the whole country. By creating an environment that welcomes and supports international students, the Netherlands can become a leader in the global knowledge economy.
Exactly. And Limburg is a great example of how to do that. They've made a model that uses their unique strength, tackles potential challenges, and creates a win-win for the region and the students who go there.
It's a pretty inspiring story. They're not just accepting the way things are, they're fighting for their future and showing the power of embracing diversity and international connections.
And their story has valuable lessons for other regions facing similar issues. It highlights the importance of making policies fit the local context, understanding what different communities need, and recognizing that global talent can make things better for everyone.
Beyond the economic arguments, this story also touches on something more personal, the human impact. What about the students who've already built lives in Limburg? What about those who want to study there? Let's talk about their stories next. It's easy to focus on the big picture, the economics, the politics, but this is about people's lives.
Yeah.
The students who chose Limburg, who've made friends, maybe even started businesses, what happens to them if these restrictions happen?
That's the human side that we don't always think about.
Right.
And there are some quotes in the article that really highlight this, like Maastricht University's president, Rianne Lechert. She talks about the uncertainty these restrictions are causing, not just for future students, but for the staff too, Dutch and international. Even regional mayors and businesses are feeling the impact.
Yeah.
It's creating this feeling of unease, this wait-and-see approach that makes it tough to plan for the future.
It's like everything's on hold.
Yeah,
Well, everyone waits to see what's going to happen.
exactly.
And it's not just Maastricht University. All of Limburg's schools are feeling it,
That's right.
from vocational schools to research centers.
And imagine you're a student who's always wanted to study in Limburg. Maybe you're drawn to that cross-border environment or a specific program, and suddenly it's way more complicated. It's not just about filling seats, it's about attracting talented people who could contribute to the community for years to come.
And that's where the whole brain drain idea comes in, right?
Exactly.
If those talented people feel like they don't have options, they'll go somewhere else where they feel more welcome and valued.
It's a loss for Limburg, but it's a loss for the Netherlands too.
Right.
And Limburg is arguing that their approach could actually be a model for other regions that are having trouble attracting and keeping talent. This is where what Peter van der Heijden said about multilingual education is so important. Investing in programs for a diverse group of students, especially in those border areas, can benefit everyone, attracting talent, boosting innovation, and strengthening ties with neighboring countries.
It's like they're taking what some might see as a disadvantage, being on the edge, and turning it into an advantage. They're embracing their role as a bridge between different cultures and languages. And that's appealing not just to students, but to businesses and researchers too.
Absolutely. If you're a company wanting to expand into Europe, a region with a skilled workforce that speaks multiple languages is a huge plus.
Yeah.
Limburg's creating a talent pool that's ready to work in the global market.
So they're not just reacting to a problem, they're creating opportunities.
Exactly.
And that proactive approach is clear in how they're responding to these restrictions.
Right.
They're not giving up, they're speaking up, making their case, and fighting for what they believe in.
It goes beyond economics. It's about values. Limburg is showing a commitment to diversity, inclusivity, and international cooperation. They're an example of building a successful community that welcomes different cultures and ways of thinking.
And that's a powerful message, especially these days when things feel so divided. It reminds us that working together, not isolating ourselves, is how we move forward.
So what can you, our listener, take away from all of this? As you see news about immigration, education, economic development, think about Limburg.
Right.
Look beyond the headlines and consider the local context, the details, the potential for creative solutions that challenge the usual way of doing things.
Because sometimes the most valuable lessons come from unexpected places.
That's right.
Limburg shows us that welcoming people from around the world can be a good thing, creating a better future, not just for one region, but for everyone. So keep exploring, keep asking questions, and keep diving deep.